Hey there, it's Wayne Wallace, and today I'm going to retouch some photos, so I thought I'd show you how I do that. A lot of people think you just press a button and it's done, but that's not how it's done. I've got three photos here, one, two, and three. We're going to start with this one here, and I'm going to zoom in. And the first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of some blemishes. So any little marks I see that are distracting, any little stray hairs that are distracting, I'm just going to get rid of those. Any little bumps, any little lines, I'm going to get rid of those. And I'm using a Wacom tablet, so that's how I can jump around so quickly. It's like using a paintbrush. So I'm just going to jump around here, get some high level stuff, and just go through here and get some of this stuff. People really appreciate the retouching work that I do because it makes them look like they were having a really good day. So the camera picks up so much detail, more detail than we want to see in ourselves. So got a couple little hairs here. I'm just going to remove those. So don't believe anything you see online, folks. It can all be photoshopped. It can all be AI'd. And, AI is pretty good, but there's nothing like the manual retouching that I do or the manual editing that I do, because when I look at things with my own eyes, I see things differently than AI does. And I'm making personal judgments based on my choices and my opinions on what looks better. So right now I'm just getting distracting elements that catch my eye, just going around and getting rid of some lines and marks that maybe he doesn't want in his final photo. This is a big area down here for the women. They usually want their neck to look nice. With guys, it's not so much of an issue, but still want to get rid of any little distracting elements. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm just gonna take care of a few pieces of hair up here. All right, that looks pretty good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come in and do a flatten layer, and then I'm going to do a skin smoothing. Okay, so that smoothed it out pretty good. I'm going to take it all the way up to 100%. And then I'm going to flatten it again, and I'm going to do another skin smooth. And then I'm going to come in here and get rid of these eye bags. So I'm going to go to a different tool here, and I'm going to take these dark eye bags, and I'm just going to kind of minimize them, just like that. Okay, so it's like I'm putting a layer of softness on top of them. Okay, so that one's still a little bit heavy, but it's okay. So let's zoom out. Yeah, it looks natural. That looks nice. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten it again, and then we'll do some more blemish work, and we'll just come in here and touch a few things, just like that. Any little things that didn't get taken care of. There's a little bit of kickback from the white background here, and a lot of light. So what I want to do is I want to use a curves bump, and I want to introduce some contrast. Yeah, that's nice. So that brought that contrast in the shirt down a little bit, and I could even bring it down a little bit more right there. I could darken up that shirt like that. I like that. And then what I want to do is I want to go back to this blemish layer. I want to clone this white over here. Okay, so now it's all white, and that's looking pretty good. That's the after, and this is the before. Much better. That's how I retouch. So now we can close this and we go to the next one. So we're going to do the same thing with this one. So first thing I'm going to do is do the blemish removal, and we're going to just jump in here and do the same exact thing we did before. So I'm just going to jump in here and go around and take care of any little marks I see, just like that. So he was kind of scrunching his forehead here. So he's got more lines showing up because he was raising his eyebrows there. So let's go ahead and take care of that. And then this hair is kind of part of his style. So I don't want to get rid of that. I'm just going to trim off the ends here, clean it up a little bit. This one here, sticking way out. Get rid of that. Okay, looking pretty good. Okay, just a little distracting. Okay, so now we got more lines over here because he's tilting his head to the side. So there's a few more lines there. So you notice now how I took away those lines, it kind of looks smooth. So now I need to remove some of this hair down here because it looks like there's a break in his hair growth, which is kind of odd. So just kind of clean up down there a little bit. Okay, little spots there, little spots there. Okay, looking pretty good. And we got a little work to do up in here. So make sure you pluck your nose hairs when you go for your photo shoot. You'd be surprised at the stuff I see. And you also want to have clothes that look good. So this shirt looks like a brand new shirt, and you can tell that in the photo. So if you wear an old kind of beat up shirt or dress or whatever, blouse, then it's going to kind of look that way. So you always want to make sure your clothes are fresh. This is his business here. So he's got a nice fresh business shirt on, which is good. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now I just have to clean up the background. So let's go into this tool here, and I'm going to just retouch out this background that was not white. So this is the beauty of photographing on a white background. If you want to place yourself in an advertisement, then most likely your advertisement background is going to be white. And if you shoot on white, then it makes it real easy to put yourself on a white background. Now, technically, I could cut you out of any background, but it's always going to look cleaner if you shoot it on the color that you're eventually going to use it on. And people always say, well, can't you just do it on a green screen? Well, yeah, you could, but I guarantee this photo is going to look way better than something shot on a green screen because the reflections that you get, so like right here, you can see, let me go back to here, you can see under here where he's got this white reflecting on his arm, that would be green. And then it'd have a problem. So if you shoot on a white background, it just looks like a highlight. It doesn't look green. But the problem with shooting on green screen is you're going to get some green reflecting back onto your skin. And taking out that green is difficult. So you don't want to shoot on green screen unless you absolutely have to. So we did the blemish removal. Let's do a flatten and let's do a skin smoothing. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to maximize that. And then I'm going to do another skin smoothing. And then I'm going to go in and do a little magic over here and do a little magic over here. Oh, actually that was on my other layer. That's okay. I can just do that here. Okay. That looks pretty good. Any little lingering items, I can just take care of those just like that. Okay. So now we're going to run a flatten and then let's go in and look at, so all the stuff that I'm using the actions for, I could technically do them by hand, but I do so much of this retouching that it's a lot more productive. So let me bring this down just a little bit more, darken up that shirt. And then look, I've got white missing down here between his legs. So I need to come in here and let's flatten this. Actually, let's just go back down to the merge layer. And I'm going to clone some of this white into here. Okay, there we go. So now it's ready to go. And now we'll do the business headshot. So same thing, but this one needs a little more work because it's so close up. So let's go to our blemish layer and then we're going to zoom in and we're going to work on this. Okay, just zooming around here, getting some of these high points. It's kind of like meditating almost because you're just focused. So notice the necklines, well, we got one over here, but they're less visible here because he's got a suit and tie on. Okay, so this one's a pretty deep one. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to use my patch tool. I'm just going to grab this area right here and I'm just going to drag it down here and that'll soften up that line. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good for a first run. And then I need to work on my background because my background's got wrinkles in it too. So people spend all kinds of time steaming a background. No reason to do that. You got Photoshop. Now, if it was in my studio, then I would probably have it hanging all the time. But since I take my studio on location, my backdrops kind of get folded up and they tend to get some wrinkles in them. But that's easily taken care of with Photoshop. Just go in here and then I'll run a blur on it. So it won't be a problem. So if you have photos that you need retouched, then you can send them to me and I can retouch them. Now, if they're not that good quality to begin with, then there's only so much I can do. But if they're better quality photos like this is a high resolution, high quality photo, so the results will be much better. But if you have some old photos that are kind of got cracks and discoloring on them, then you can send them to me and I can make them look a little bit better. You know, old family photos. I have a lot of those myself. Oh, got a piece of hair sticking out here. See that right there? Okay, those I'll leave because that's kind of style. And let's go back to my blemish tool and zoom in here a little bit more. Get rid of that one. Okay, getting pretty good here. Okay, so now we're ready to run some skin smoothing here. So I'm going to flatten this layer, then I'm going to run a skin smoothing, and then I'm going to run this up to 100%, and then I'm going to flatten it again, and run another skin smooth, and then I'm going to do my little magic trick here with the patch tool, and I'm going to take out this eye bag, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here. What's going on? Something happened. Okay, there we go. I added a mask of some type, which I didn't want to do. Okay, so that smoothed them out really good. And then we're going to flatten it again, and then we're going to grab the teeth, and then we'll bring that up a layer, and then we'll go ahead and add our adjustment layer, hue saturation, and let's grab the yellow and pull that right out. And then we'll go in here and we'll turn on just this layer, and then we'll put a mask on it, and then we'll paint in just the teeth. And I can be kind of sloppy if I want because I can always do it in reverse. There's so many ways to do things in Photoshop. It's really just a matter of preference and style. So now I can come in here with a smaller brush and I can just paint in these tops right here. So it's a little more accurate. Okay. And that's just so we don't have any discoloring when we go back to the full shot like that. So that's before and after. So we don't want to see any discoloring in the gum area. We just want to see the color change on the teeth. Okay, looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. I don't think we even need to blur the background, but I'll do it just for kicks here. So I just merged that layer. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the subject and then I'm going to clone him to the top, and then I'm going to copy that layer and I'm going to run a lens blur on it. So that blurs out the background nicely. And then I'm going to turn that layer off, and then I'm going to transform this down just a tad bit because you can see his shadow behind there, the blurred one. So I'm going to reduce that down just by about that much right there. Let's see, let's try 92%. Yeah, 92% looks good. So we can see the difference between the two backgrounds right here. So what I can do now, clean up this edge manually, just like that. Basically, I'm just filling in this little border right here. You're never going to see that anyway because this photo is going to be cropped, but just to be technical about it, because I always send the full-size photo and I want to make sure it just looks good, because if they want to use it full size, they can. Zoom in a little bit here. My background was starting to get a little funky there. So let me do a flatten. Nope, no. Let's flatten here, and then I can just kind of fix that like that. Make that background look better. Okay, So that is, let's zoom in and let's close that and let's move this out of the way and we'll do before and after. See that? Beautiful. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to run a curves bump. Okay, that's kind of weird. Layer mask. Okay, so there's our linear contrast. Just adds a little pop, which is very nice. And then I'm just going to crop them and send them. So that is how I retouch photos. So that's why you want to go to a professional photographer, because not only do we take the photos, we also retouch them. Now I just noticed something here that caught my eye. It's this area down here. I'm going to see if I can fix that. Don't know how successful it's going to be, but it looks like his jacket was kind of wrinkly. So let me try a little AI. This is where AI can be very useful. So I'm going to select this whole area right here, and I'm going to tell it to remove wrinkles in coat. So let's see what AI can do, because this is a very difficult area to retouch because it's got the pattern of the material. So I'm very interested to see what AI does. Okay, the moment of truth. Here we go. It's thinking. I must say, the little bit I've used AI on photos, it's actually done pretty well. Oh, this is a tough one. It's thinking hard. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, this means it may not come back good because it's really thinking. It's going to be interesting. See what it comes up with. Oh, look at that. It actually did a nice job, but the coat looks a little funny down here. And it always gives you 3 versions. So let's, oh, that one's pretty good. Oh, that one's even better. So yeah, pretty impressive. I think that's better than it was before. I just need to clean up this little spot down here. So let's take a look at it from afar. Yeah, I think that can work. See how AI saved the day? So let's go before and after. Yeah, I mean, it looks a little splotchy in here, and I may be able to fix some of that. So let's try this. Let's turn off this layer, and I'm going to do a flatten. So see, even though I've got AI, it's still not exactly perfect. So, AI is not going to take your job, but someone that's using AI will take your job. So I'm going to use my clone stamp, and I'm going to come in here and try and just fix this little bump. That's a little hard. I just want to make this edge look more natural. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Looks like it's just getting kind of out of focus. And then let me try something else. I'm going to go here to my Dodge Lighten, and let's put a black mask on there. And I'm just going to try and lighten these areas a little bit here, because the pattern's there. Let me paint with a white brush here. And let's go to 4%. Okay, so that looks a little better. I'm just lightening up some of these darker areas, but the pattern is there. And it's not completely perfect, but it's okay. It looks better than the wrinkle, I think. Okay, let's zoom out, take a look at it. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. So I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to turn off all these layers here, and then we'll turn on that layer. Oh, that is after? Okay, so that's after and before. Let's make it full screen, and before, after, and before. See that? Took off a few years, right? But it doesn't look overly photoshopped. It just looks like you had a good day. All right. So that's how I edit photos. And if you have any photos you need edited, let me know.